Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a new video and that is just a nice good old regular knitting podcast. The episode, as always, it's a question to me. And today is Friday, so this is also going to be the day that this video is going to be up. Then just before I start showing all of the whips that I have going on and the finished objects, I do have one super exciting thing to say, and that is today is finally the day that the test knit for the cardigan that I'm wearing is going to be released. So not the pattern, but the test knit call. I've worked really hard on this pattern. It was like a beast to create this project. There are lots of different short rows and then textures to keep in mind. But I managed to do it and I'm very happy with it. It's currently being tech edited, so I do hope that everything turns out well and that it's going to be something that I can actually release, because the grading was a little bit all over the place. I usually would have preferred it to have the same increments for all of the sizes, but that was not possible in this pattern. So that's something that's a little bit odd to say, and I will show you a bit more. But it just has a beautiful puffy sleeve, lace and twisted stitches, and I believe this on the sleeve is called an Andalusian stitch. It's very pretty. And some double knitted button bands is just a great design in my opinion, and it's the one I was the most excited about, which is why I released, well, it's the first on my list to release. Now I have two finished objects to show you. So I will show you the one that I finished first, and it's another Hermione hat. This pattern is, I think, going to be released on the 2nd of February, and the test knit is currently going on and will finish, I believe, next week, but I'm all over the place with dates, to be honest. And this is version 2 in a size 2, and this pattern comes with 4 different brim options, and this is the one that has a double layer brim, so it's kind of knit or seamed together so that it's just a double layered brim and it doesn't move. And I knit this with merino singles, so it's a fingering weight yarn held together to create a decay weight on 4mm needles, and it created a very beautiful hat with nice stitch definition. And I'm very happy with it. I'm going to knit one more for the video tutorial that I'm doing, and then they'll be finished. So then I will have knit 4 of them. And the next finished object is one that I'm super excited about, because it was one that I was very eager to get off my needles. And you may have guessed it, but it's my Sophie Shawl. And it's one with 2 split colors like that. And it turned out very big and beautiful, so I can wrap it around multiple times, which I have not really worn it like this, to be honest. I think I will wear this when it's super duper cold, and it also depends on the jacket that I'm wearing. But I love how it looks actually. It's so cute. And it's the same yarn as my cardigan, so that's why it's kind of blending in. It's drops Nepal, and I knit this on 5mm needles, just as the pattern suggests. And there were a lot of ends to weave in, because the drops Nepal is only 75 meters long. And so the yardage just doesn't take you very far, so that was a bit of a bummer, but in the end I don't really mind weaving in ends, to be honest. I just put on a new show that I was watching and it was really nice. It was Fool Me Once and it was a really good show, so I would recommend if you like something that's a little bit thriller and something that will really want to keep you watching. Makes it very addicting. Now I have 4 whips in progress. 2 of them are other people's patterns and the other 2 are new designs that I've recently cast on. So there's not too much progress to be seen there, but progress nonetheless. And I also just want to say quickly that I really have not been knitting a lot. I've just been so focused on getting the Hermione hat finished and then the Vivienne cardigan, and it was a lot. So I did not do a lot of knitting. I was just working all day, it feels like. But now I'm excited to start knitting a little bit more, because like I said, I have 2 new designs on my needles. And I really want to focus on them and get them finished. So that will be really fun. But the first work in progress that I have is the Pullover by Ozetta. It's still on my needles, however. I have managed to finish the body. And then I would say I'm almost done with the sleeve and ready to start the ribbing. And I'm excited also to start wearing this. I think this is a new color for me, so I'm excited to see how I can style it and wear it. I think it will look really nice with either cream jeans in like spring and summer, and then maybe some brown corduroy jeans that I made in the winter. I quite like that color combination with this like minty, pistachio, matcha green color. What do I have to say about this? Well, it's knit on 5mm needles, so it's quite quick. knit with 2 strands of fingering weight yarn, and I'm knitting it with drops Flora in the color pistachio is what they call it. I will always have all of the numbers in the description because if I tell you, nobody's gonna remember and it sounds just really uninteresting. Then all of the details have some twisted rib, and I just like that there's not any mohair in here because I feel like that makes it just a very nice and practical garment to wear for me just on day-to-day life. Then my next work in progress is one that I've been really excited to show you because it's the Celeste sweater by Petite knit, and I just really want to show you how the colors that I chose are turning out. I have not finished the yoke yet, but there's a little bit of something going on there. And I absolutely love that bright pop of pink that I chose. This one, it's the Drops Daisy, because it just really gives it like a oomph. And I feel like that really suits this pattern very well. Maybe it's a little bit different for me as for the style. I've never really worn a colorwork sweater like this, or colorwork. I can remember that I had a sweater when I was like 12 or 13 years old, so that's more than 10 years ago. And I had I like that sweater, but I have not really worn something colorwork since. But I think it's very cute. And after the colorwork yoke, it's going to have short rows, which I'm very happy about. And then I did for the ribbing. I think my ribbing looks really nice, and if you think that too, that's because I turned my ribbing. So after I finished my ribbing, I did a German short row to turn it around so that the right side is actually on the inside. It's not a huge difference, but there's definitely a difference. Like the stitches on the inside for me are just a little bit tighter and nicer. And there's sadly one row where I was accidentally knitting the knits in the back loop because I'm so used to doing twisted rib because I usually do that. And I did not go back and change it actually, I just kept it in. So it's looking a little bit funky, but I'm thinking maybe with blocking that will go away. Now as for the yarns go, I'm knitting this on the recommended needle, which is a 4.5mm needle, just for the color work. After that it will be 4mm. Then the color I did with Drops Daisy in a marzipan color, I believe. And then this will be my main color eventually. And I'll show you just the other colors. The pink one was also Drops Daisy. Then we have some Drops Lima. And then some Smart by Sandnes Garn, which is the only superwash yarn in there. Then I have a little stitch marker. That's my own little stitch marker from my shop. I will have a new shop update next week with new project bags and stitch markers. And I'm looking forward to making those actually, which is the most important thing for me because sometimes I don't like sewing anymore. But project bags for me are really like a creative outlet because especially if you do them with quilted and patchwork design, it's just so much fun to put all of the fabrics together and to imagine how it would be. And I think I'm also going to play around with the quilt design in the front and just do things a little bit differently. And then the rest of the whips are my own designs. So let's get into those. The first design that I have on my needles is one that I'm super happy with so far. And it's going to be a bubble and cable sweater with a drop shoulder. So I've been doing some short rows, which are now finished. I'm just knitting on, and I really love this color. I actually got this yarn a while ago to make some kind of cable sweater, but then when I had the yarn here, it was not really moving me or getting me excited to cast it on. But then the inspiration struck and this happened. I will show you in a little bit more detail, but we have a really nice center cable with some bubbles, some twisted stitches with bubbles. Here there are also twisted stitches with bubbles, and then there's 2 cables that kind of alternate each other. And then with some good old mass stitch, which is always a nice and delicious texture. And that's what this whole sweater is reminding me of, is just delicious and sweet good old texture. Which is why I'm naming it the Sweet Sierra sweater. I thought that would be a really cute name also because the color is kind of sweet and nice for the springtime when it's probably going to be released somewhere. I don't even know how the whole design is going to look like. I kind of just go with the flow and then see what I feel like. And it has been really fun so far. It's Drops Daisy, so it's a DK weight yarn and then held together with a mohair cone. So I'm knitting this on 5mm needles, so it's going by very quick. And then the next work in progress, there is not really a lot to show you. I cast this on yesterday, but then I was super busy with figuring out the chart and the stitch patterns that I wanted to do, that there has not been a lot of knitting, so please don't laugh. But this is all that I have right now. Just a tiny little triangle. So you may guess what this is going to be, and it's going to be a little shawl or scarf to wrap around my neck. And the yarn I also picked up yesterday. It's one of those blown types of yarns, and I really like that this one had a little bit of vermeil in color. And this is the Gazzal Alpaca Air, which is very beautiful. I've knit with this yarn before. I made a little head wrap, and I really like how that looked, and also the definition of the bubbles. And I didn't really have this pattern in mind yet until I saw the yarn, because it just spoke little shawl to me. And it's going to also have bubbles and cables. I think I'm just really into that stitch combination right now. The colorway I'm not sure. I will put it in the description, but this is a Turkish yarn. And it's a mix of polyamide, superwash merino, and then baby alpaca. And it's very soft. So I just got 2 of those from my local yarn store. And then it's eventually going to be a scarf. And also, this is one of the newest stitch markers that I have in the collection. It's a Sacred Heart design, which I find very beautiful. And then the last bit of this video are the yarn acquisitions or purchases that I have to show you. The first one is really fun because it's from a brand that I've never tried before, all the way from Spain. It's Wool Dreamers, and I got their yarn that is called Mota, which is a worsted weight merino wool, and I got it in 3 colors. I got a sweater quantity of this color, and I've really been looking for a yarn that's this color. It's a very much, well, on the camera it's showing up more brown yellowish, but it definitely has also a green tint to it in real life, and I just really love this color. It for me reminds me of the Gilead by De Rerum Natura in their color, I believe it's called Argyle. So this is 100 grams, this is why it's such a huge skein or ball, and it's 230 meters, so intended for 4.5 to 5.5 millimeter needles. And it's local wool, and their whole brand ethics I just really love. It's very sustainable, and yeah, I don't really have a lot of information about it from the top of my head, but I would really suggest checking out this company. And they had a lot of other beautiful yarns, also some ones that I believe they hand dyed themselves, but in solid colors. So I got 2 other colors. Both I'm going to make Hermione hats with, I think. This light grey one is for sure going to be a Hermione hat for a family member. So I will show you that. Just a really nice neutral. I believe Ozetta very often uses this yarn, and Wool Dreamers in general. So if you want to really use this yarn and cannot find a pattern, I would suggest checking over there. And then this yarn I'm actually going to make a cabled cardigan with, but that's probably going to be after summer, because I feel like maybe I also have to make some summer designs and be a regular knitwear designer in that sense. And then the last color that I got is a beautiful rust red color. And you may think it's the same as this one, but it's not. It's much darker and reddish, as you can see. And I don't know what this is going to be yet, so that's fun. It has a lot of options. And then the last yarn that I picked up is for a summer design, like I just spoke about. And it's going to be a little vest with also cables. Yeah, I'm very into cables. And this is from Rowan, which I've also never used their yarns before. And this was on sale for 50% off, so that's why I got it. Because I thought it was very suitable for summer and the type of design that I'm making. Because it's 50% organic merino wool and then 50% organic cotton. And I don't really love cotton yarns, and I think when there's a little bit of wool in there, so for example also the cotton merino from Drops, that makes me like it a little bit more and make it more enjoyable to knit with, and probably also a bit more wearable, because I do run cold usually, so I don't really need a ton of summer tops or cotton tops. Usually one of these cost I think 13 euros, but then I got it for 6, and I do think 13 euros is a lot for this yarn, and I don't recommend paying that for it. I do know that the yarns are organic, of course, so it's probably worth more money, but 13 euros, you gotta admit, it's quite steep. So the yardage on this is 130 meters for 50 gram, and I got this in the color Nutkin. And I think it's going to be very cute, so that's something that I will cast on later when my other two designs are more finished. So that was all that I have to show you for this knitting podcast. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to having the test call for this today, and it's going to run throughout this entire weekend, and it's probably going to start next Monday. Then the Hermione hat is going to be released very soon, and then I will also have the shop update next week on my website. So super fun things are coming. Then next week the video is going to be some hand knit outfits videos that I filmed probably 2 months ago, and I'm finally going to upload it. So I hope that's something that you will also enjoy. It's a little bit different but also fun, I think. And then I will hopefully see you then in the next video. I wish you all a very happy day and happy knitting, and see you then. Bye bye!